Imagine lying on a bed of leaves, the crackle of a distant fire your only nightlight, the scent of rain-soaked earth mixing with pine and sweat. No mattress, no Netflix, no glowing screens, just the primal hush of night in the wild, the slow rhythm of crickets, and your body slowly sensing with the rise and fall of the stars. Now ask yourself, were our ancient ancestors sleeping better than we are today? The truth might surprise you, or even make you question everything you thought you knew about your bedtime routine. Because what if modern sleep isn't natural at all? Imagine opening your eyes in the dead of night, not to the glow of a smartphone or the buzz of a notification, but to total darkness, deep, rich, almost alive with quiet. Somewhere nearby, someone shifts in their sleep. The air is cool. A fire still crackles faintly. You're not alone. You're part of a tribe, maybe 20 or 30 people, all sleeping in a loose circle under the stars or in the mouth of a cave. No alarms, no clocks, no 8 hours or bust mindset. Just your body and nature. This was sleep for tens of thousands of years, and it looked nothing like what most of us experience today. The idea that humans are supposed to sleep 8 hours straight every night is surprisingly modern. In fact, when researchers began studying present-day hunter-gatherer tribes like the Hadza in Tanzania, the San in Namibia, or the Cavemen in Bolivia, they found something unexpected. These people don't sleep in long, uninterrupted stretches. Instead, their sleep is segmented. They doze off after nightfall, wake up for a bit in the middle of the night, and drift back to sleep later. Sometimes they sleep in two chunks, what historians call biphasic sleep, and they never stress about it. No one lies there counting sheep or panicking that they're awake at 3 a.m. That in-between time, it's normal. Maybe they chat quietly, walk around, even stoke the fire. It's part of the rhythm. What's even more fascinating is that these tribes often sleep fewer hours than we do. On average, about 6 to 7 hours a night less than the modern ideal. Yet, they show lower rates of insomnia and virtually no signs of chronic sleep disorders. How? Well, one theory is that their sleep is more aligned with their biology. No artificial lights disrupting their melatonin. No scrolling TikTok at midnight. Just sun up, sundown, and rest when their bodies say rest. Another crucial factor? Safety in numbers. In ancient times, sleep wasn't just about rest. It was about survival. One study observed that even when tribal members are asleep, someone in the group tends to stay lightly awake. It's like an unspoken agreement. While some sleep, others are on quiet alert, rotating through the night, so the group is never completely unconscious. That's not paranoia. That's evolution. Predators, weather, rival tribes, all real threats. So early humans evolved to sleep in community, in shifts, surrounded by people they trusted. Kind of wild, right? So when we lie awake in our modern beds feeling alone and anxious, maybe it's not just stress or poor sleep hygiene. Maybe it's the absence of something deeply human: shared rest, shared safety, shared night. That's the real kicker here. Our ancient ancestors didn't sleep in sterile, silent rooms with blackout curtains and memory foam. They slept near flames, near sounds, near one another. Their sleep was fragmented, responsive, and social. And even though it might sound chaotic by today's standards, it was natural, normal, effective. So the question isn't just how they slept, but whether they slept better. So how exactly did ancient environments shape the way people slept? Picture this: no bedroom doors to close, no thermostats to adjust, and definitely no white noise machines. Sleep in prehistoric times was an open-air experience, intimately tied to the natural world. The rhythm of the sun and moon dictated the tempo of rest, and instead of fighting the elements, people adapted to them. Temperature played a huge role. In tribal societies, people would often fall asleep shortly after sunset, when the air began to cool and the body naturally prepared for rest. There were no artificial lights messing with melatonin or making our brains think it's still daytime. The darkness was real, full, and all-encompassing. And this darkness acted like a switch for the brain-triggering sleep hormones right on cue. Interestingly, this connection to temperature still shows up in our biology today. Modern sleep researchers have found that cooler nighttime temperatures help the body fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. It's no coincidence that our body temperature dips naturally at night. That's evolution doing its thing. Now let's talk about light, or the absence of it. Fire was the only source of illumination, and its warm, flickering glow doesn't suppress melatonin the way blue light from phones and TVs does. So even if someone was sitting by the fire late into the evening, it wouldn't hijack their circadian rhythm the way LED screens do. There was a kind of harmony there between light, temperature, and time that we've mostly lost. And let's be honest, when was the last time you fell asleep watching firelight instead of doom scrolling through bad news? Then there's sound. In the wild, total silence doesn't exist. Sleep came with a natural soundtrack wind rustling through trees, distant animal calls, the low murmur of other people breathing nearby. These sounds weren't considered disruptive. They were expected. They signaled safety. If the night went too quiet, that might have been cause for concern. Today, we buy noise machines to replicate those natural sounds, but back then, they were just part of the world. Something your body recognized. Something your brain used as cues to fall deeper into sleep. There's also a psychological aspect to all this. Imagine ending your day not with emails or mental to-do lists, but with conversation, storytelling, maybe even singing. Tribal groups often gather around fires before bed, sharing stories that bind them together, relieve stress, and strengthen community. That connection feeling seen, supported, and part of something bigger is another thing our ancestors had that we often don't, and that emotional grounding may have been just as essential to good sleep as a quiet cave or a warm fire. It makes you wonder, were they better off sleeping that way? No memory foam, no CBD oil, no blackout curtains, yet somehow it worked. And it wasn't because they were tougher. It was because they were more in tune. They didn't try to fight their biology. They lived with it. Now let's zoom out a bit. Why does all of this matter? What can a bunch of prehistoric sleep patterns really teach us about life today? Well, the truth is, quite a lot. Modern life has pulled us so far from our natural rhythm that many of us don't even know what real restorative sleep feels like anymore. We think we're bad sleepers. We blame ourselves for tossing and turning, for waking up groggy, for needing coffee just to function. But maybe we're not broken. Maybe our environment is. Think about how most of us wind down. We're under harsh lighting until late. We're overstimulated by digital feeds, bombarded with news, constantly connected, yet more isolated than ever. Our bedrooms often double as workspaces, our minds racing long past bedtime. And all the while, we're trying to squeeze ourselves into a rigid, industrial-style sleep model. 8 uninterrupted hours, preferably on a schedule that fits work, not biology. Compare that to ancient life. Our ancestors' sleep wasn't perfect, but it matched their reality. They didn't judge themselves for waking up in the middle of the night. They didn't panic if they only got 6 hours. They trusted their bodies. They trusted their environment. They trusted each other. It's fascinating and maybe a little heartbreaking that in today's world, we have to work so hard to simulate the conditions our ancestors took for granted. Apps for circadian sensing, pills for melatonin, sound machines mimicking forests, weighted blankets to mimic human contact. It's like we've created a synthetic version of the wild, and even then, it still doesn't fully work. But here is the good news. We don't need to live in a cave or sleep on the ground to benefit from ancient wisdom. Just understanding how human sleep evolved can shift how we approach our nights. We can stop fighting the urge to nap or stressing about midnight wake-ups. We can lean into rhythm instead of rigidity. Maybe we lower the lights after sunset. Maybe we swap out screens for books. Maybe we just listen to our bodies more and stop expecting sleep to happen on command like flipping a switch. And maybe, most importantly, we recognize that sleep is deeply social. We were never meant to do it alone, in silence, with locked doors and white noise to drown out the world. We're wired for connection. That's not weakness. That's humanity. So when we imagine sleeping like a caveman, it's not about going primitive, it's about going real. It's about remembering that our biology hasn't changed much in thousands of years. But our environment has changed completely. What would happen if we stopped trying to outsmart sleep and started working with it instead? Imagine this. You're lying in bed, physically exhausted, but somehow wide awake. You've been staring at your phone, the room glows blue, and your brain feels like it's still stuck in rush hour. You tell yourself you should be asleep by now. You scroll. You worry. You calculate how many hours are left before your alarm goes off. Sound familiar? This isn't just insomnia. This is a modern-day sleep crisis. And it's happening because we're trying to sleep like machines. In a world that's completely out of sync with our biology. Let's break this down. For millions of years, human sleep patterns were shaped by one thing: the sun. Daylight meant movement, food, and activity. Nightfall meant stillness, warmth, and rest. That rhythm, known as the circadian cycle, runs deep in our DNA. But in just a few short generations, we flipped that rhythm upside down. Artificial light keeps us awake long past sunset. Shift work, social media, and endless content hijack our attention. The result? Our bodies are tired, but our brains are overstimulated. We're going to bed in fight or flight mode. And then there's the light. Blue light, specifically, which is the kind that beams out of your phone, your laptop, your TV. It's a type of light our brain reads as daytime. When you blast your eyes with blue light before bed, your brain delays melatonin production, the hormone that helps you sleep. That means you're biologically tricking yourself into staying awake. Imagine trying to fall asleep while your brain thinks the sun is still out. That's not rest. That's confusion. But it's not just about screens. Our homes are full of light pollution bright kitchen lights, LED bulbs, even streetlights outside the window. And all of it messes with our internal clock. Contrast that with how our ancestors ended their day. As the sun went down, light naturally faded. Fires provided warm, soft lighting, which doesn't interfere with melatonin. Their bodies had clear signals for when it was time to wind down. No confusion, just rhythm. And then there's stress. Modern life is full of chronic, low-grade stress that never fully shuts off. Bills, deadlines, notifications, noise. We're constantly on. Our ancestors had acute stress, like, say, running from a predator, but it came in short bursts, followed by recovery. Today, we rarely get that recovery. We carry anxiety into bed. And the irony? Stress makes sleep harder, and lack of sleep makes stress worse. It's a vicious cycle we weren't designed for. So what we're left with is a perfect storm. Light that tells us it's daytime, stress that keeps us on edge, and a society that sees rest as laziness. No wonder we're so tired. Now let's talk about what this modern sleep disruption actually does to us. Because it's not just about feeling tired. Poor sleep bleeds into every part of our lives, our moods, our metabolism, even our relationships. And here's the scary part. Many of us don't even realize it is happening. Start with mental health. There's a direct link between sleep deprivation and anxiety, depression, irritability, even memory problems. When we don't get enough quality rest, our emotional regulation tanks. That little thing that wouldn't have bothered you yesterday suddenly feels huge. Our brains become more reactive, less rational. We snap faster. We spiral easier. In the wild, sleep was a natural emotional reset. Today, we are re-skipping that reset over and over, and it is quietly eroding our ability to cope. Then there's physical health. Lack of sleep has been tied to everything from weight gain and heart disease to lowered immunity. Why? Because during sleep, your body goes into repair mode. It balances hormones, clears out toxins, resets your metabolism. But if you're not sleeping deeply or long enough, that repair job gets cut short. Your hunger hormones go haywire. That's why sleep-deprived people often crave sugar and carbs. Your cortisol, the stress hormone, stays elevated. Your immune response weakens. It's like trying to heal a wound without bandages or time. Even our social lives suffer. Studies show that sleep-deprived people struggle to read facial expressions or pick up on emotional cues. That means we're more likely to misinterpret others, get defensive, or withdraw. And it makes sense. If you're running on empty, even small social interactions can feel overwhelming. Our ancestors slept surrounded by others. That closeness helped them regulate, not just physically, but emotionally. Today, many of us sleep alone and wake up already depleted. But here's the thing. It's not just the lack of sleep that's hurting us. It's the pressure we've built around how we're supposed to sleep. We treat sleep like a performance, tracking it, grading it, stressing over it. And all that pressure? It's counterproductive, because the more we try to sleep, the harder it becomes. We turn it into another task to conquer, instead of something natural to return to. Our ancestors didn't need a perfect bedroom setup or a 10-step nighttime routine. They needed rhythm. They needed connection. They needed to feel safe and in sync with the world around them. That's what modern life has stripped away. But what if we could bring some of that back? So here is the big question. How do we actually start sleeping like a caveman in today's world? Because let's face it, most of us aren't moving to the forest, building a fire pit, and bedding down under the stars. But the goal isn't to mimic the lifestyle exactly. It is to reclaim the natural instincts we've lost and bring them into our modern lives in simple, meaningful ways. First, we've got to fix the light. One of the easiest and most powerful things you can do is start dimming your lights after sunset. Switch from bright overhead bulbs to lamps with warm tones. Use amber-tinted bulbs or smart lights that shift with the time of day. Even better, limit screen time in the hour before bed. Or if you must scroll, use blue light filters or wear amber glasses. You'd be shocked how quickly your brain starts sensing back up with darkness. When you stop feeding, it signals that it's still daytime. Next, consider your bedtime routine, not as a checklist, but as a signal. Your body needs cues. That's what the flickering fire was in ancient times. A cue that night was here, that it was time to slow down. You can create modern versions of that with calming habits. Reading a book, stretching, listening to quiet music, or even lighting a candle. Keep it simple. Keep it consistent. That predictability tells your body, it's safe now. You can let go. And yes, temperature matters too. We evolved to sleep in cooler environments. Think of nights out in nature, when the sun dipped and the air turned crisp. Try lowering your room temperature slightly before bed. Even a small change can help your body fall into deeper sleep faster. Weighted blankets, breathable sheets, and cozy socks can also help you recreate that sense of security and warmth our ancestors got from sleeping close together. But maybe the biggest piece of all? Rebuilding connection. We don't always think of sleep as a social thing, but it is. We were never meant to fall asleep stressed, isolated, and overstimulated. Try talking to someone before bed. Share how your day went. Hug your partner or your pet. That grounding presence, that feeling of being safe, seen, and part of something, calms the nervous system more than any supplement ever could. Even something as small as changing how you think about sleep can help. If you wake up at 3 a.m., don't panic. Don't reach for your phone or stress that you're doing it wrong. Just lie there. Breathe. Maybe that midnight wake-up is your body remembering its ancient rhythm, that in-between state our ancestors used for reflection, prayer, or even creativity. Instead of resisting it, try accepting it. The truth is, sleep isn't about hacking or optimizing. It's about returning to something ancient and wise that's already built into us. We've just forgotten how to listen. And when we do listen, when we dim the lights, tune into rhythm, lower the pressure, and reconnect with others, something shifts. Sleep stops being a battle. It becomes a reunion with our instincts, with our biology, with the quiet, forgotten rituals that once made nightfall feel sacred, not stressful. We can't go back to the caves, but we can bring some of the cave wisdom back with us. So maybe the real sleep problem isn't inside us, it's around us. We've built a world that's louder, brighter, and more demanding than anything our ancestors could have imagined. And in doing so, we've disconnected from the very things that once made sleep effortless. Darkness, rhythm, safety, togetherness. But the beautiful part? Those instincts haven't gone anywhere. They're still there, buried under schedules and screens and stress, just waiting to be remembered. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to get 8 uninterrupted hours every single night. You just need to return to your body, your rhythm, your quiet, your breath. Sleep isn't a luxury or a performance. It's a relationship with yourself and the world around you. And the more we stop trying to conquer it and instead honor it, the more it gives back. Clarity, energy, peace, and a kind of deep rest that no pill or app can replicate. So tonight, when you lay your head down, think back to the firelight, the rustling leaves, the safety of your tribe nearby. And know, even in this modern world, you are still connected to something timeless, something human. If this resonated with you, take a second to reflect on your own nights. What could you shift? What ancient habit could you reclaim? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what part hit home for you. And if you're ready to explore more ways to reconnect with your natural self, hit that subscribe button. There's so much more to rediscover together. Until next time, sleep well and sleep real.